Ever since he was drafted in 2019, David Montgomery has always been there, but has yet to elevate to that next level. But I think he has what it takes to be great.
Gonna hand it off, and that is a first down, and then some for Montgomery off to the races.
After getting drafted 73rd overall to Chicago, David was seen as a replacement for the now Eagles running back Jordan Howard, and upon that many saw him as a key piece to a contender. Keep in mind that the Bears were coming off of a 12-4 year in 2018, and had recently lost on this.
Ooh, upright.
Oh my goodness, the Bears season's gonna end on a double doink.
Yup, the double doink. By the way, the Bears lost to the eventual Super Bowl champ Eagles, so if they made that kick, they could have made a legitimate run. Anyways, the Bears already had a great defense, a young stud in Mitch Trubisky, and a star wideout in Allen Robinson. So now that David was joining the crew, they were looking unstoppable. Although David was able to rush for nearly 900 yards and 6 touchdowns, offensive struggles with a certain quarterback led to an underwhelming 8-8 year as they missed out on the playoffs. In David's case, the year was proof that the Bears believed in his play, as he was given over 240 carries from the get-go. But although it was a great start to his career, an underwhelming 3.7 yards per carry kept him from being in Rookie of the Year contention with guys like Josh Jacobs and AJ Brown. Anyways, David was looking to take his production to another level as a sophomore, and did that with nearly 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Definitely an improvement from his rookie year, but it seemed to have gone under the radar of most NFL heads. Although he had the 5th most rushing yards in the league with 1,070, his name is not even remotely close to the likeness of guys like Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, and obviously Derrick Henry. Even while writing this part, I had no idea that David was a top 5 rusher, and less than 100 yards behind the number 3 back in Jonathan Taylor. Anyways, David put together a solid performance in 2020, and although it wasn't recognized by anyone, at least we know. Before we talk some more about my man David, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more stuff like this, turn on noties in order to stay tuned, and grab a shirt if you want. Anyways, back to the video. Normally a young running back would have a lot of hype around them after nearly rushing for 1,100 yards in only his 2nd season, but the whole Trubisky situation took up the Chicago mediascape. With Trubisky now off to Buffalo, and now Andy Dalton and Justin Fields battling for the starting spot, I'm sure David will go unnoticed once again. Not really a bad thing by any means, but it shows that he will have to work that much harder in order to get the same recognition of his colleagues. Coming out of a smaller media market in Iowa State, and upon that going in the 3rd round, has led to this whole underrated situation, but has really been a blessing in disguise, as it has given David enough experience to deal with the whole situation. Anyways, David is looking to up his production in his 3rd year with the Bears, and it's looking like he means business. The phrase, "I know myself and how good I can be," really says it all for how it's looking like David is going to play in 2021. It's not like he's played bad the past few years, and in fact he's been really solid despite all the problems around him. I mean, trying to deal with inconsistent line play to the lack of carries late in games, David has been held back quite a bit, but has still been able to perform. Although a bummer situation, it makes sense that the Bears haven't been able to use him late in games, because many times they are either losing or so close that they have to keep passing the ball, and so they can't dump it off to David a bunch of times. But hopefully the problem is resolved now that Trubisky is left, and they seem to have some talented replacements. Hopefully the new replacements provide some more opportunities for David to carry the rock, but it's all really up in the air. If Nagy's words are something to go by, he said that 20 carries a game for David is very doable. Although nice to hear, coaches say stuff like this all the time, and although sometimes it comes to be, a lot of times it just doesn't, so it's hard to trust, but nonetheless it's promising. The situation as a whole seems like a problem of mixed interests, as Nagy seems to be favoring the quarterback, and so David is getting a little bit less attention than he should be because of it. Now it's not like he's getting ignored. Over 240 carries is not something to just look past, but it seems like a bit less than David probably deserves. Nonetheless, I'm expecting a similar scenario to 2020 playing out in 21 if the Bears aren't able to consistently put out games, but I guess you can hope. No matter the case, David is going to do the best he can wherever the team needs him, and he still feels like he has so much more to improve on before he can truly be his best. It's a great mindset to have in whatever you do, but crucial for someone in a spot like this. If David was agitated and just mad by the whole situation, then he would probably protest the lack of carries and leave the Bears on rough terms. So I'm sure the management is happy about his mindset about the whole thing. David's way of looking at things has him excited for the new season, and already feeling a lot looser and a lot shiftier. It seems like David is treating this year as the start of something truly special by working that much harder in order to fine-tune his game for whatever carries he gets. Upon that, it seems like David is developing a good bond with his new quarterback in Andy Dalton. And the fact that he's asked the former Cincy quarterback so many questions that you would think he was the cops or something is a pretty solid sign. That constant desire to want to get better and improve day after day has drove David to improve year after year and seems to be a sign of what's to come in 21. With guys like David and Andy working their tails off, the Bears are looking to make a jump over the next season and help their defense out a bit after an up and down 2020 year. Although last season was up and down for the team as a whole, it ended with some more carries for my man David, as he averaged over 25 carries in the last 3 games of the season. Much better than his under 15 carry average outside of the stretch, so it's promising that that's the last we've seen of his play. If he can continue the workload that he ended the last season off of in 2021, then I'm expecting some big numbers out of the Iowa State star, and I think the Bears could have a season like they did in 2018. Whether he gets the workload or not, David has given his all this season without caring about what others say or think, and just trying to win football games. From all that I've seen and heard from David, it's looking like he has a larger-than-life chip on his shoulder, as he's looking to prove that he belongs with some of the best this season. Well, we've seen a bit of his game already, and after a 3-yard carry in the Bears' first preseason game, he left the field with a bit of an injury. But thankfully for him and the Bears, it's not looking too serious. Very good news for someone who wants to run the ball 300 times, but a reality check for someone at a position that seems to be always plagued by injuries. Nonetheless, David has something to prove in 2021, and although he's not letting on to it, I'm sure he's going to run his heart out to prove that he belongs among some of the best runners in the league. David Montgomery has flown under the radar ever since he was drafted in 2019, but I don't think he will for much longer with his level of talent. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's next.
Montgomery back in, and here's Montgomery breaking a couple of tackles and winds up with a first down and a touchdown!
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, it would be amazing if you could subscribe, like, and comment down below what stuff you want next. Anyway, see you all soon, and peace out.